Well, hello out there once again. Always a pleasure to have you out there in the audience listening and watching, and it's always a pleasure for me to be here. I have a couple of real special guests. As you recall, over the weeks, I've been alerting people to the Miller Monument ceremony that we hold annually on Memorial Day. The monument is in the south end of Fall River, intersection of South Main and Shove Streets. It was dedicated to the to Miller, Corporal David Miller. However, it's also in respect and dedication to all the World War II veterans that have served, especially in the south end of Fall River, but also throughout the city. And we were there. We had the ceremony, and what is going to be shown is a little clip, a montage of pictures. And my two guests are the people that put it together. And I'm going to introduce them first, and then we're going to go through this little clip, which I think is just excellent. They did a really, really good job. So we have JoAnne, who was the videographer, is that it? The
videographer. I also did the editing of the photo montage.
JoAnne Breault, and you've been doing this for a little while now, and you did a great job. You were there with the camera. Barry French, first time on a, JoAnne, you're the first time on this program, I believe, yes. Also. And Barry, known you, Barry, for quite a while. Barry, you took the pictures, is that it?
Yes.
Did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Everyone who's watched it has really loved it.
Well, thank you.
All right, we're gonna watch this, and then we're gonna go into a little of their background and some of the things that they do. So let's roll that film. Well, as you can see, that is a fantastic film. I've watched it a number of times, and I really get a little emotional every time I watch it. It has that great, deep military feeling about it, an appreciation on a Memorial Day, which is a day not for celebration in a sense, but for remembrance, for dedication. You did a great job, JoAnne and Barry. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to read off a little background of my two guests. Start off with Barry. Prior to retiring, Barry consulted in a newspaper publishing business for the last 25 years. He served as the editor at both weekly and daily newspapers and was the publisher of several weekly newspapers being The Villager in Freetown, Lakeville, and Berkeley, the Nemasket River Journal in Middleborough, the Bridgewater Townsman, and the Walpole Times. He also was the president of Graphic Printers in Mansfield, a web offset publication printer specializing in printing newspapers. He hails from Freetown, where he was elected collector of taxes at the age of 22. Wow. I wonder how many times he got tarred and feathered. A position he held for 13 years. It was an elected member of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health for 3 years. He currently serves as a member of Green Futures in Fall River and has been canvassing Oh Save the Rail Trail, or should it be just Save the Rail Trail in Fall River. As a journalist, he has served as a newspaper photographer, but these days photography is much his passion and hobby. Well, Barry, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you.
Quite an interesting and deep background in the newspaper publishing business. And now JoAnne. JoAnne successfully worked in broadcasting for over 20 years, garnering awards such as the coveted Beacon Award and several community media awards from the New England Cable Television Association. JoAnne is currently an instructor of communication at Bristol Community College and produces educational videos for the mathematics department. That must be interesting. JoAnne has earned 4 college degrees and is currently pursuing a certificate in art. She is currently a member of Toastmasters International and serves as the Vice President of Public Relations. She also volunteers at the Mobile Market, a collaboration between Bristol Community College and the Boston Food Bank, where the mission is to end hunger. The Greater Boston Food Bank is the largest hunger relief organization in New England and among the largest food banks in the country. One of her platforms in fighting poverty. Well, that is quite a background. 4 degrees.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we have JoAnne and Barry recently attended the memorial service in the south end of the city of Fall River at the Corporal David Miller Monument and covered the event for television, which is the clip we just seen, which was excellent. Well, let me ask you this question: what was it like personally covering the event?
Well, I've been to numbers of events, and that was a very good event. It was a nice event.
That was the first time you were there.
For the first time for the Colonel Miller, Corporal Miller event, and you did a very good job managing that and hosting that. And your selection of speakers were good. It was especially the ending with the pigeons. That was a nice touch.
That was, yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm not fast enough on the draw that I actually got the pigeon leaving the hands. The pigeons were faster than the shutter in that case. But it was, I enjoyed taking the pictures, and this is the first I have seen them this large.
Is that right?
Well, this large I have seen.
Now, did you put all these, did you choose the pictures?
And then JoAnne put the program together, and I've only seen them on laptop type computers until today. And so it was, and the program that she did is marvelously impressive, very impressive.
How many pictures did you take?
Well, I probably took about 50, but JoAnne did, but many of them are duplicated, and JoAnne did a marvelous job picking them out.
Okay, so JoAnne, you picked the pictures.
Yes, what I tried to do as the editor was to actually select pictures that showed human emotion, because digital storytelling is very popular right now.
Yeah.
And I edited them and added the music, but I also want to remind you,
Where did you get
Richard,
the music?
the music is actually free public access
excellent,
music that
excellent.
is available at FRC Media. If you produce a television program and plan to air it on television, there's a lot of free resources for public access television. But I also want to remind you that we actually had taped the ceremony in its entirety, and that will start airing on Fall River Media television starting probably next week.
Well, I can't wait to
So if
see
you could have
that.
your viewers start looking on the schedule for that. And
Now,
that's the entire ceremony.
How will it be listed? Because they do put it in the Herald News. Is there going to be a special?
We will list it as the Memorial Day Ceremony 2018. and
Miller Memorial.
we can also have that under
Yeah, because
the
that way
subtype.
people will know which memorial, because there's many that do take place on Memorial Day, not only in Fall River, but everywhere.
And you asked, what does it mean to be covering that Memorial Day event? And personally, it means quite a bit to me, because one of my mother's brothers had volunteered at 17 to serve in Vietnam.
Oh.
And he died at a very young age from health complications once he returned.
Yeah.
But I've also been doing research with my Ancestry.com. And I recently found out on my father's side of the family, which are from Connecticut, that I actually had 4 relatives that served in the Civil War.
Wow.
And my great uncle,
Which side?
my father's, who was a Breault, his paternal grandmother, which are the Wilsons from Connecticut, and my great uncle, George Hiram Wilson, was actually captured down south in a battle, and he actually died in Andersonville prison
Oh, that
camp,
was a terrible camp.
which is tantamount to what we would consider as a concentration camp by
Well,
today's standards, where the prisoners were deprived of food, clean drinking water, and my uncle actually died from scurvy, which is a very preventable disease. If you receive the right nutrients and the right food, you would not
Yeah,
have
it was very
contracted that
common
disease.
of sailors long ago.
Yes.
And I think quinine was one of the ingredients that helped prevent scurvy. Fresh fruit like oranges,
Yes.
Lemons.
Correct.
So that was, what do you think a ceremony like that, as far as significance to the community, has?
When I attend an event like that, it's like a slice of Americana. And I have to thank you, Richard, because when I first moved back to the city, you had invited me to my first Memorial Day service in the south end of Fall River. And what I thought about the whole event was that there's a very close-knit community in the south end of Fall River, and people are very hospitable, and it was a pleasure to move back to the city and to be invited to your event. Thank you very, very much.
Good.
And especially thanks to both of you for your service to our country.
Barry, veteran also?
Well, I was in the reserve, so it isn't.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, service is service.
I did I did everything I was told.
Yeah, you were ready. You were ready.
Oh
able,
yeah,
and, if you were
trained.
sent somewhere, you would have to go. So that that's great.
Yeah.
So what did you feel in regards to community?
It was a powerful event, and I wish more people had gone, and perhaps they will next year when they see this. And I very much like storytelling. That
Well,
has
you
importance.
See, there were so many events that day.
There were
People
several others.
dispersed all over the city.
Yes.
They're in the outlying communities. It's difficult to get a a huge crowd, and it's only a small place too.
Yes.
We,
I
have to
know.
we have to really box it in and get the cars
Yeah.
to go around. And so, but you know, the turnout is usually pretty good. It was a good.
Oh, it was
turnout.
very good. It was good, and
We get a lot of cooperation.
yes.
Various people that show up, take part. I always try, you know, to bring
It was
in as
very
many as
ceremonial.
possible. Yeah.
And it was nice to see our World War II veterans, because I recently read an article about the Veterans Affairs Bureau, and of all the millions of people that participated in World War II, we're down to around 500,000 people that are still alive. And many of our greatest generation, they're now in their 80s and 90s. And if we don't take the time to honor them and to capture their stories, the majority of them are going to pass away within the next 10 years. And historically, that's very valuable to our city.
Well, when I first started this program, it was called Veterans Issues. And I tried to get as many World War II veterans to come on my program. It wasn't easy because they were up in age. Some didn't want to come on the program. But I did manage to get a few videos. And actually, as far as I know, there's a place somewhere in Washington, I don't know exactly where those videos can be submitted. And they keep them in an archive. So that's something to think about. If you ever get involved with a World War II veteran, that whatever you make can be submitted somewhere in Washington, D.C. So the what is the need? Like some people, I don't know if they realize why these things are done, but what do you think is the need to preserve, in a sense, the past and display it now in the present, as was done at the Miller Monument, Barry?
Well, you know, we are very fortunate to have a great country.
Oh, yeah.
And not every day do we like everything that's happening, but we still have great freedoms in this country that other countries don't have, and that's because of these people who have served and faced danger. And Memorial Day is for those who did not survive, and whereas Veterans Day would be for those who did. But these people sacrificed their life, they sacrificed their time, they did it with tremendous devotion, to have the type of country that they wanted everyone to live in. So, and I think that's an important event to memorialize.
JoAnne?
I have to be honest with you, Richard. When I was younger, when I was in college, a holiday, Memorial Day, it was a night out with my friends the night before the holiday, maybe going to Alhambra's, and then it was sleeping late the next day. But as I get older, I'm more appreciative of the sacrifice that our veterans have given to preserve our country, and experiencing that day on September 11th, where terrorists tried to take our freedom away, I have a different appreciation for our military, because I realize that if these people didn't enlist in the military and were willing to sacrifice their lives, we would not have the kind of freedom that we have now. And just watch the news and take a look at current events and see that in other countries, if you criticize your politicians or you criticize your government, they're going to take you in the back alley and they will assassinate you. Yeah. Where we have a grievance process, and under the First Amendment to the Constitution, we can create television programs, we can write editorials, we can write essays.
Yeah. Freedom of speech.
Complain to try and engage people and to get improvement in our government.
Well, you were at a meeting, conference, whatever you might call it, at one of the schools a month or so ago, And the basic presentation, JoAnne, was about public access.
Yes.
Comcast that supplies cable TV to, they said 25,000 subscribers in the city of Fall River. What did you, what was your feeling about the presentation, and what do you think the importance of that is all about?
I believe that public access television is all tied in with our First Amendment rights. It allows us as citizens of the community to produce our own programs, to have a voice, and to advocate for those people that may not have a voice. And currently, the city of Fall River is in a very unique position because the licensing is coming up with Comcast. And now we're in a position that we can ask for new television equipment, and we can encourage people in our community to also go on the FRC Media website. They have a survey. Please take the survey because
Is that survey still
yes,
ongoing?
we have the opportunity right now to ask for new technology and new public access television equipment and personnel. And this opportunity may not come up for another 10 years. And as you are aware, the technology is changing so rapidly that sometimes it's just difficult to keep up with the technology. And we're in this very unique position where we can actually ask for free equipment for our community to use and produce their own public access television programs.
Barry, anything to add?
No, I can't add to that. That's very good.
No, well, free equipment, but when you say free equipment, you mean to the school, et cetera, not to individuals.
No, to the public, meaning if you are a resident of Fall River, you could take a public access television class at this facility, which is located at Bristol Community College.
No charge.
No cost. You can learn how to use video equipment. You can learn how to edit. They have a nice editing suite in the back, which I used to produce your video montage. They can also appear on television shows. They can go out on the field and perform electronic news gathering where they could cover a local event.
Take the school's camera out there, is that it? Now, did you use the school's camera?
I have some of my own video equipment because I've been working in this field for over 20 years.
Wow.
But if I ever need any ancillary equipment like a microphone or editing time, the staff and personnel at Greater Fall River Media are very helpful in helping us produce the program.
Barry, have you accessed or used some of the Bristol Community College's?
No, but I have a video camera, and I've done quite a few videos, but they didn't come out quite as well as JoAnne's. But I think I should sign up for the class if I'm eligible.
Well, I've seen some of your work. You had some of your work.
There's a lot to learn, and I would like to learn more about it. And I think that public access, and this is the media. We've had a tremendous transition in the last few decades from newspapers to the internet and cable and that sort of. I mean, when there was a period when I was in the newspaper business and cable was not available. It wasn't that long ago that we didn't have the internet like we have. It was in the mid-90s that that came about, and it wasn't very much compared to today. So we've had a tremendous transition in communication.
Now, you've been in newspaper business for a long time.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about any maybe major story you broke?
A major story that I broke?
Or something that was, you know...
You could ask him about his spin on Chappaquiddick.
Oh, yeah. I have.
Wow.
But I can tell you that my first... when I was first out of high school, I wanted to be a photographer.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Apponequet. I started at Durfee, and we finished at Apponequet. And the story that broke in Freetown was that someone applied for a license to have a nudist camp.
Oh, wow.
And so, of all the stories...
That wasn't you, no.
No, of all the stories in in my lifetime now. I'm a young fella, and I'm very
Oh, yeah.
interested. I've already been doing scoop newspaper pictures and community pictures for newspapers, and very little writing, but mostly pictures. And so this nudist camp had applied for a license,
Boy.
and
You must have got on your fastest motorcycle to get over there.
well, I went up there one night and I met with the people who were the prospective owners, and they were living in a trailer on the premises
And this is in
Freetown.
Freetown.
And they were very nice people, and I sat with them in their trailer. It was a summer night, and they explained to me, you know, what their operation was about.
Yeah.
That people would go there and they would have tents or trailers or little houses or whatever, and they would basically keep these there for the entire season, and
But
they promoted the concept that nudity was okay.
and they actually were walking around nude?
No, they were sitting in their trailer and they were fully dressed. They were talking pretty much like we are, and they were very, very nice people. So anyway, this was a huge controversy, and there was a hearing at the town hall, and the place was packed, and I was there taking pictures of the event, and there were a lot of reporters there. So the news went out all over the United States.
You know,
So it was an interesting
story, yeah.
Yeah.
JoAnne, because we're getting down to the end of the program. Now, as a communications instructor, what is some of the, what do you think is the most important thing that you like to get to a student, if nothing else?
I try to teach my public speaking class so that my students leave my class with marketable skills, because public speaking is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Not only will it help them be successful in school, but it will also help them get promoted at their job and help them be more prepared when they go for job interviews. And I also encourage them to be advocates for other people, whether it's to speak on behalf of abused animals or to do volunteer and advocacy work for our senior citizens.
Well, you know, both of you have some extensive, varied backgrounds. You think that that has helped in what you've achieved to this point in your life by spreading or doing different things instead of a narrow scope in life? Barry?
Oh yeah, I've kept it interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there's been a huge transition just in the production of newspapers.
Okay, we're down to the end. JoAnne, any last couple of words?
Yes, Richard, I'd like to thank you very much for helping us move that Cook Pond project along.
And don't
I'm
forget,
looking
yeah,
forward
Cook
to
Pond,
that.
Friday, we'll be down at Cook Pond at 1 o'clock. Where the wharf area is, there's going to be a ceremony down there. It's open to the public, so if you're available, stop down this Friday, 1 o'clock. Barry, thank you
Thank
for being
you.
on our program, and maybe we'll see you
Yes.
Friday, 1 o'clock.
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you out there for watching, and I'll see you next time.